Melody, Vera said seriously. I don't know what it is, but I get the feeling that he's telling the truth. We might have just gotten incredibly lucky. If it would be that easy to pick Talion out, then attempting to find anyone to teach him is going to be basically impossible without putting him in an enormous amount of risk. I still don't 100% trust this individual. However, for the time being, I think he offers a sound deal. Even if he goes to fetch his father afterwards, by then Talion will be trained. He won't be able to take him back once he's capable of fighting him off. In other words, it'll be up to Talion on whether he chooses to go or not. We still get what we want out of the deal. Melody gave Vera a nod. Okay, and it's decided. We agree to the deal. You train Talion, and then do whatever you're going to do. As long as Talion makes the choice himself, I, as his mother, can live with it. Or at least I can try to. But if there's any funny business, don't think I'll hesitate to do you in, Melody said, looking seriously at the man in the white clothing. Great, then it's all settled. So, is this all there is to your house? You do know I have to sleep and stuff, right? And I don't exactly feel like hopping back and forth through those portals all day. Do you at least have some spare blankets that I can make a mat out of or something? What? You think you're gonna sleep here? Well, yeah, I kinda have to be nearby to train the kid, remember? Normally I'm able to do a little bit of a walk around, perform jobs, and take assignments from people in order to get money. That lets me pay for my room and board while I'm here on Earth. However, as I'm going to be spending all my time training Talion, that means I'm going to have no cash, no gold in hand, no place to stay. Meaning, of course, I'm going to have to stay here. Unless, of course, you want to go back on our deal, which will just bring us back around to our original problem. For a moment, Melody was very concerned. Fine, she replied. You can sleep on the floor, in the living room, but I will be keeping an eye on you. In fact, I've recently learned a spell, a barrier spell that will sound an alarm if you cross past it for any reason. During the nighttime, when we're sleeping, I'll place this barrier around you, and you will be confined to that space. No leaving for any reason. You need to go to the bathroom? I suggest you get some type of container and bring it with you. Because if that alarm goes off for any reason, I'm not going to ask questions about it. I'll assume you're up to no good and attack. Well, you really are a protective one, aren't you? I suppose that's a good thing for the kid. A little bothersome, but I suppose I can deal with it, the man nonchalantly said, rubbing the back of his neck as he looked around, before taking a seat at the table. Well, I suppose since all of that's done, we can concern ourselves with other things. For example, I think I smell food. I do have to say I haven't had time to eat today. A warm meal might do me some good. You wouldn't mind sharing, would you? I am going to need to eat while I'm here. Yes, Melody replied. I suppose we can feed you as part of our arrangement. But you eat what I cook. No getting picky. Don't worry about it, the man replied, smiling. Trust me, I've had to survive in some harsh conditions. Your meal is probably going to be gourmet compared to some of the stuff I've had to put up with through my life. Trust me, after you've had to eat raw rank lizard, there's really nowhere lower for you to go on the it tastes terrible category. I'm sure that whatever you cook will be more than sufficient. It does actually smell pretty good. Yeah, actually it is really good, Talion said, from behind his mother, of course. Do you want me to get you a bowl? Yeah, thanks, kid. Aren't you a courteous little guy? So, when exactly is Talion to commence his training? Melody said, sternly. I don't want you wasting our time. Well, we are mostly through today. I was thinking we could start first thing in the morning. There's no sense in starting up training until he has a full night of rest under his belt. And a full belly. Trust me, he's gonna need it. I'm good at what I do, regardless of what it is, but I am known to be a very strict teacher. So Talion, I hope you're tough enough, because I don't plan on going easy, and the training is only going to get harder the farther we get into it. I've been told that the first day is especially rough, so try to get your beauty sleep once you finish your meal. Okay, Talion replied, finally stepping out from behind his mother as he went to fetch a bowl. Several, in fact, in order to set the table and get everyone their food for the evening. Tensions were high as the meal proceeded. Both Melody and Vera kept a very close eye on their new guest, who introduced himself as Salus as they began their meal. Sitting there at the table, Talion couldn't help but feel a sense of intrigue about this new individual. He was, after all, only the second person he's ever met aside from his mother, and his attitude was very different. He seemed jovial as he ate his meal. Wow, I gotta say, this is pretty impressive. You are quite the cook. Miss, what did you say your name was? It's Melody, and you already know my mother Vera. This is business, so you can dispense with the pleasantries, Melody said seriously across the table. Ooh, I think that's going to be a problem, he said, taking the bowl away from his face for a few moments. What? Melody replied, seeming somewhat untrusting. You see, serious isn't a big part of my personality. I mean, I hardly ever really take anything seriously. Being serious is just so tiring. I mean, I can do it if push comes to shove, but frankly, I find it a waste of energy. If you want serious, then Talion's father is much more suited for that. He's serious about everything, which is both incredibly vexing, as well as hilarious at times. I mean, seriously, he turns everything into a contest. If there are a group of people, like we have sitting right here right now, having a meal at a table like we're having, then he turns the meal into a contest, and simply refuses to allow anyone to eat more than he ate. If you get a second bowl, he has to get a second bowl. If you bother to get a third, he's going to start racing you, he said, laughing. This one time, we caught a Veldeer boar. These things are huge. It was supposed to feed us for days, the group of people that we were traveling with. But him and Darif, a very sturdy guy that we tended to work with, found themselves in an eating contest. They ate the entire boar. I mean, seriously, you should have seen them passed out on the ground. They were miserable the entire next day. It was hysterical. Must you continue these incessant talks about Talion's father? Melody said. Are you attempting to sway Talion with these joyous little tales? If that's the case, I'm going to have to ask you to stop it. Hey, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not trying to sway his decision. I'm just telling a story. His old man's a good friend of mine, and we spent a good deal of time together, so he pops up. But if it makes you uncomfortable, I suppose I could try to focus on other stories. That would be appreciated, Melody said. She still didn't exactly like the situation. These happy stories that this stranger was telling about Talion's father might start to give him curiosity. make him question whether he actually wanted to stay with her. This idea, quite frankly, terrified Melody, and the thought that this stranger might be trying to push it made her dislike him heavily.